I just want to say a hearty congratulations to my comrade and my colleague, the Honorable Senator Wade Mark, His Excellency, being sworn in as the acting president of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Comrade, well deserved, my brother, Your Excellency Wade Mark.
Good evening, TNT family. I just want to welcome everyone back to Yellow's Decode. I have Mr. Suman Singh with me here. Mr. Singh, welcome back to Yellow's Decode. So we had Senator Roberts congratulating our President of the Senate, Senator Wade Mark, on his appointment for becoming acting president of Trinidad and Tobago. And so that's pretty much how are you doing there, Mr. Singh?
I'm good, man. Good. Yeah, pretty warm here in Miami Beach.
Right,
It looks like the summer is in full swing already here.
right,
Even
right,
though you
right.
see the weather in other areas, it's still snowing, a lot of tornadoes in the Midwest and so on.
Yeah, that heat does generate that kind of
At this
atmosphere.
time of the year, right? Yes, Texas and north of Texas as well. So Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. It's been 20 something over the weekend, tornadoes. So
Right, right, right.
thank God we are safe here at this time.
Well, that's what I'm saying in New Jersey. I'm hesitant to move. I can't
Yeah,
leave the pickup and running. I'm too old
you
for that
know,
now.
yeah, that's right. Just whether it all once your building is,
Yeah,
built a long time ago with old technology. These are the ones that withstand the hurricanes and whatnot. So some in a
yeah.
way, old technology is just as good and even better than the new technology.
Well, these tornadoes, I mean, so they come so strong they rip up brick buildings too. So
Yeah. But
yeah, yeah.
that's why you encourage you to have a basement in these regions.
Right, right, right. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Singh, I saw the court ruled in favor of releasing the information on the Naikwan explosion.
Yeah.
And, it's amazing how all of a sudden the the freedom, even from the court, it seems that the court was under restraint too. And you see Stuart Young trying to
Justify.
to rebut there a little bit on Dr. Munila's comment. All the lawyers of the state advised not to be released. How dare the lawyers of the state make such a decision in the first place not to release that information?
No.
You know, I
it,
mean, they're out of place.
it,
You know,
it just bothers me to that extent. Sometimes we say the law is an A, but you know what I'm trying to say. The thing is
well,
that when you have these P&M lawyers who will do everything against their own good judgment in most cases, decide to go with their brethren, the eat a food guys. So, Gary, listen, if you take my money and you do an investigation, right? And the result of that investigation says X, Y, and Z. Shouldn't I know what the results are? I paid for it. Shouldn't I? I have a right. In the same way, the people have a right to know what the decision and what the findings were for that commission of inquiry into this. So I don't know if you know when the Naikwan explosion happened. I happened to be in Trinidad at that time.
I
And
heard about it really more so when the diver situation took place.
well, I think it was around 2021 around there, 2022, 2020, 21 around there. In the heat of the COVID time or just after. And it shook up, you know,
And then the diver situation happened not a year after, roughly, on that.
correct. So
Right.
it shook up the place, Sando. people, some friends of mine who live in there on the outskirts, said they felt the shake. It was such a powerful shake. And
You know,
here
I keep saying a lot of people had to go to jail. You know,
I've been saying that from
I
day
want to
one.
see, and I don't care from captain to cook.
That's right. I don't care. Let the chips fall where they have to fall, man. The country is at stake. The wider population is at stake. One man,
Clear evidence of a Cosa Nostra cartel mafia in charge of our country, ruling the courts, ruling the police, ruling the army, have the country suffocated. Finally, people can breathe. And then I see in, all this kind of hypocrisy shooting out of the woods now,
oh yeah, oh
trying
yeah.
to give their input and try to suffocate or stifle this government. But this is not going to work. We are not going to sit by idle and let them run them out. You know what I mean?
Yes, you're right. And where were they all the time? I keep on asking this question every single day time we come on stream, Where were they for the past 10 years? I see one of the reporters, I don't want to call his name, but he was there in the post-cabinet review. And not the review, the conference on Thursday. And he was asking the right questions. And he got the right answers. But I never heard him as an investigative journalist, what he claims he is, doing any sort of these type of questioning when the PNM was there. So all of a sudden they found their voices to ask the correct questions. I commend him for asking the correct questions. But why wasn't these questions asked before as well? So the Prime Minister answered him excellently. So there's nothing to hide, She's laid out the facts as they were. So, everyone was silent. As I said, the university was silent, the lecturers, the Law Association, civil society, Transparency International. Where were all these guys? The trade unions, the Chamber of Commerce. Where were these people who's supposed to have that elite voice in society? Where were they? I see there's a big thing with Martin Daly as well in the newspaper. He's justifying why the state boards should remain when there's a change of government.
Let me tell you something. Mrs. Bisesa and the government don't need no outside advice. She was given a mandate. Welcome, Anthony. Good to see you inside. Esel, welcome. Let me know if you want to come in. We can send you a link. Yes. So what I'm saying to you, we don't need no advice from PNM Cosa Nostra. All right, that's how they acted when they got into government. They didn't want any advice from us.
Right.
From the time a government takes power, all political appointments is automatically null and void.
And that's it here too in the US as well. You know that. In the US, it's the same. So it can be one different when PNM is there, and another one different when UNC is there. All board members should become null and void. Because how can you justify remaining in your position to carry out the mandate of the new party? That's a no-no. How can you do that?
And like I say, if them feel they can bully Kamala and her government, and we're gonna remain silent, is all hell is gonna break loose from my end. I am not kidding with these people at all.
Yeah, got to let them have it as the way it should be. And there will be a lot of fallout, but say what, it is for the betterment of the country. How come check the amount of these senior citizens' pensions held up?
I mean, in the Ministry of Social Development,
yes.
I mean, in WASA, you name it, evidence. They look at the San Fernando Corporation. Up to now, they can't account properly for the money, and they want to talk. They had Stuart Young and Faris have the audacity to talk.
When contracts were given to CPEP contractors with no lease, no no length of time, just wages were collected. What for? How many of those were gangs? Gangs meaning labor gangs. Where was the money accounted for? No wonder they cannot file their audit statements. You know, there were no financial statements for the past 10 years.
We can never forget the bullying and threatening of the Auditor General. Okay? We will not let that loose at all.
These are for government ministries, but I'm talking about the private corporations. For example, CAL. What was CAL?
Well, Carl, I mean, Carl is still kind of state-owned, you know, so, I mean...
Yes, but it's supposed to have financial statements to show, well, how did I perform over the last year and what my projections are for the next year and so on. What is my income and expenditure projected to be at based on your marketing figures and so on. Am I going to buy new planes? Am I going to lease new planes? What's that going to cost me? Am I going to enter new routes? And this type of thing. So if you do not have that projections, which will show up in your balance sheet under, you know, your either long-term debt or something like that, then you have something to hide. And here's that they sent the Honorable Prime Minister 20 pages of correspondence, and they're telling her like a mandate: if we don't correct these things or get funding to do these things, then CAL is going to collapse. And now to hear the former minister who was in charge of CAL, which is the Minister of Finance, talking and saying it's true that big debt was not paid. That's still a liability. Yeah, who is going to pay that?
Welcome, my friend, Dr. Parum Raj. There, long time.
Good night. How are you?
Good night, man.
Good night. How are you doing?
So, Parum, it is obvious we have a Cosa Nostra mafia cartel rule in the country. It's all evidence we've seen again and again, where they want to dictate what cannot be said and what can, in the ruling right now. Where we see here where the explosion at Naikwan, the judge ruled that the information must be released to the public domain, right? And Cho Chiang jumping up and saying, it was advised by the state lawyers, right, that the information shouldn't be released. How dare you make a decision, anybody in the country, not to release such information when an incident of an explosion takes place like that in the country, and the information cannot be released to the public?
Here's what goes on. Those type of from my experience, those type of activities take place, right, is because there is involvement of personal contract is involved. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
For example, there's an explosion in, let's say, an electricity plant. I caused that, and I have my contractors there waiting to get the contract for repairs. You understand? Right?
Okay,
that's part one. That also is that he is covering certain people, right? There's no transparency.
We had a debt, right? And I mean, this information, I mean, they restricted that information. There's a lot of things coming forward in the Parum. A lot of things coming forward.
Yes. That is what normally goes on when they hold these like that. I'm talking because of my experience. What an investigation, and this is what the things that happen, right? Now, when you hide information from the public like that with that big magnitude, is because you are hiding something else. You are protecting someone else, right?
They're all protecting each other. Go ahead.
Yes, they're protecting each other on their criminal activities, right? That is the whole things about it. As I said, is to make money or protecting their people. That's all.
And the thing about it is that the PNM ministers coming on board now to justify what they are saying is true. But we all know it's a lie. The evidence is showing that it is a lie. The data is telling us that they were lying all the time to the public. So,
You see, what goes on is when you play devil and then you go to church and play angel. That is what's going on. Now they are in church and they're trying to play angels, right? They make disaster in the country. They run all over people. And now they go to church and they say they want to be saints now. That is what goes on. Now they are very bold-faced people, very bold-faced, right? And nasty. That is a part of corruption. When you're bold-faced like that, and now you trying to say that you can do better. You still have 10 years in power, and you did the bad things in the country. The inflation went very high. Health go right down to the ground. You close down the oil companies, right? And you put in your people. Petrotrin, you close it down, right? How many it was there, right? And then after you come in and talking about you want to bring the country up again. No, people get tired. The housing projects in Trinidad is fatal. Look at the simple idiot thing that they did. Take away laptops to legalize marijuana. That is a government? No, that is madness. You understand? They stop a law-abiding citizens from protecting themselves. I'm a professional. I have my business. You tell me bandits have to have more authority and protection over than me? No, that is not freedom. That is slavery, right? And then you hire security guards to protect you. Who is the company? Who is the owner of the security company? Themselves.
The 1%.
That's all.
The 1%. They are the one. That's a cartel. You see, the cartel brings in the guns, give it to the one sector of the population, which is the criminals, and then they provide the security services. So they make money. They make money both sides by selling the guns and decide playing they're protecting the people.
Yes, that is what's going on. Look at this stupidness with this tax thing. You taxing a citizen who work all his life, and then you are so bold-faced to come and say, we will take away even his bed if he don't pay the tax, and you're feeding criminals in jail, having very good cellular phone and TV and stuff like that in jail. But the man who is outside honestly working, you're going to take away his bed for not paying tax, and a ridiculous price on tax. You understand? That is what is going on there. So they cannot come out and say what is good and what is bad. They are bold-faced people, right?
Yeah.
Now we have a moron. We have a moron criminologist, which I call a raceologist in Trinidad and Tobago. He does see everything race. Darius Figuera, right? He done calling race already that this could ignite race thing by standing wrong laws in Trinidad and Tobago. What is Trinidad and Tobago, the United States of America, where you have a majority of a certain color of people versus the other?
Well,
Listen,
I'm going to make that same point.
Racism is an excuse.
So it didn't cause racism when. So what is Mr. Figueroa saying? Is he saying that the criminals are only one kind of people?
Well, that's what he's saying.
Only one kind of people getting attacked. Is that what he's saying? You know,
that is what he's saying.
The Prime Minister got a mandate from all race and creed in the country, and they all supported what she was saying, from stand your ground, laws, to everything, A to Z, the laptops, the healthcare, and we already hit the ground putting things in order for the healthcare already, right? We already hit the ground with dealing with the mitigation for the floods. Everything is up and running, full throttle, right?
Laptops are in process for the students entering school in September, high school. So there are things in motion, things are happening on the ground, and there are a lot of backroom, discussions on the way, especially with the Homeland Security and so on. Things are beginning to swing into motion.
The Eccles went as far as trying to put an article about students feeling they're in jail because of the action that the government taking. The government is taking action to protect the children in the school. Even those who are misbehaving, they're going to take action to protect them against their own self and try to give them some kind of corrective, therapy and
Measurement.
treatment and education to kind of, discipline them. But they're not threatened. They're not threatened by the hooligans attacking them, by the gang leaders, the people shooting up the place. Don't threaten them, but they're threatened about the prime minister trying to take action to protect them.
Yes, and the former the former minister of education is saying that these actions are too harsh, it's not going to work, and making excuses. They're making
Listen,
excuses.
when the fox cannot eat the grapes, he said it is sour. You understand, right? That is what's going on. Now, if you this. Let me be partial here a little while. I'm not a partial man because I go for the correct thing. No, what happened here in Venezuela some years ago with the commander Chavez, President Chavez, he let the opposition play the fool a lot, and he forgave a lot of criminal or terrorism attacks in the country, right? Because just because of the not the fear, but to respect human rights. What happened to these people who were doing terrorism? They get stronger, right? And now they attack the government more powerful. Now, if the UNC government allow the PNM government or former PNM terrorists or PNM terrorists to continue the mischief work, it will be a problem for the country because they will get stronger and they will do much severe damage to the country. They have to be stopped immediately.
All right.
Right? Have to be stopped. You're talking stupidness, I put you in jail one time. Forgiveness, we are men, we are not God. We are not priests. We are not saints. We cannot forgive. Right? I'm not Christian to forgive and put your next face and slap. No, you do something wrong, you go to jail. You damage the country, you go to jail. You cannot come out and say and speak as if you are planning something good for the country. You have done nothing. You have done bad to the country. So you have no right to come out and say what we are fixing up is wrong. You don't have brain. So the UNC government, Miss Kamala, has to stop these people immediately and with strength. Remember, a constitutional law abolish a no constitutional law. Right? What is constitutional has to go. And the rights of the people of Trinidad and Tobago is constitutional. When we had the national anthems was put in place, they said every creed and race. It didn't say black man, white man, Indian man. It didn't say anything like that. It said every creed and race shall have find an equal place.
Exactly.
Right? And they are not compelling to that statement in our national anthem. They are not. So they're trying to make us something like this. No, the black man and this criminal thing. When I am being attacked by some bandits or something, I don't look for if he's black or white or hair brown or what.
But the thing about it is people of all races got attacked in the country, right?
Yes. Yes.
This crime is not designated to one type of people.
No.
Right?
No.
What has
A
happened in
criminal is a
Trinidad
criminal.
is all race and creed has been attacked in the country. So how can you bring
Yes.
race into this thing?
Yes, a criminal is a criminal. There's no racism there. He have to pay his consequences as well. But You cannot have people protecting these gangsters. Look at the background of these ministers who defends and asks about or speaks about human rights and what is going on and defending criminals. What before they were prime minister, defending gangsters, defending mafia groups? Investigate them and you will see.
Well, some people are involved with some people to get into power and keep into power. You understand? That's a lot of things that happen. You know what I mean? So I mean, all their action is showing clearly that. And I mean, as we take government and we discover things, there's a hell of a lot of corruption that took place and a lot of money missing.
And people have to be punished for these things. You just can't let them go.
Nope.
That's the point. You have to punish for it. Make examples out of them. All departments. Look at these departments. The Point Lisa's fiasco. That person is still there, right? As the chairman of Flipdeco. She's collecting her salary. Since the 28th of April, all decisions made by that board should be null and void. They should not even be collecting a salary because of the change in government. So yet they want to say, you can't move me. And to hear the school like the Arthur Lockjack School saying that, you know what, any change of government, the board of directors should remain there. Where was he all these bloody years? Where was he in 2015? Why didn't he advise PNM to let the boards remain? You know, look at the boards in Cal. See what their salaries were. Now they threatening, I call it a threatening letter, 20 pages long to the Prime Minister, saying that if you don't bail us out, Cal is going to collapse. But you fail to file any income statements and your accounting reports.
But Mr. Singh, doesn't that look obvious that they're playing with the books all the time?
Of course, they were hiding things. They were not showing the correct debts and liabilities of these companies, and they were just showing the operating profit. That's what I told you day before yesterday on Friday. They were cooking the books.
You see what is going on as well, Mr. Singh and Mr. Gary. You see, when you tell me, no, it will collapse. Oh, it will collapse because you are there. I will replace you immediately. I don't care about law. With what you go. You want to go to court, we go to court. But I will take this up without you. That is what we have to do. I will run this without you. We don't need you.
I think the majority of the people, normal citizens, will go for something like that. They will agree to something like that because you look at the salaries these guys, well, both girls and boys got, the girls and boys of the PNM, of course. Look at the salaries which you were getting to produce what? To produce losses over the 10 years? Right? How do you compensate them on that bad performance? And yet you will say, oh, we should let them remain there. You know? Totally, boy, totally. I agree with Param. You should start to build and expand the jail as quickly as possible. And then investigate all their financial records and see how much they entered, in whatever year they entered and what they ended up now with. And
you see how we do that here in Venezuela, right? We had this corruption thing was very, very bad and crime rate was very high. What we just did, we did our intelligence work, very good. And a lot of them get out of the country. They run out of the country very fast. And there's a lot of them in jail, right?
Yes.
Right. So the country now is now getting back on its foot again, little by little. But yes, they have the throw in hand. Day before yesterday, about a week ago, we get down the black market dollar. We eliminate that already, right? So the economy is getting back stable. Why? We put hard hand. We just put hard hand. You have to do it. if you don't put hard hand, you will put your hand in down my throat. And that is what will go on. If the UNC government has to put hard hand, an excellent intelligence work, and who you are not innocent, you go to jail immediately. There is no freedom, there is no bail or anything like that. And also, or lawyers who are defending them as well to be free are criminals as well, right? Once you have the evidence transparent, and they go to jail. No question asked anymore, right? So we cannot forgive. Our citizens have suffered so much in Trinidad. They have suffered so much. You telling me a natural resource as water, natural resources belongs to the citizen. It belongs to them. You're going to put water bill very high if you have a water well in your land that does not belongs to you. That is craziness. That is craziness. You have to pay WASA, and how WASA is going. The water is intoxicated. There's a lot of places in Trinidad does not have water. People suffering for water, right? And then after you telling me that I have to pay tax and take away everything from the people? No. So these fellas, they have everything in their homes. They have their foreign banking accounts full, and they just don't care about the rest of the citizens. Who they're dead, they say that.
Quite true. But remember, Parum, they were practicing geographical discrimination all along.
All of that, and then charging people for water, and then and for water they didn't get, and then want to charge them for water delivery. And there was a racket. We have a lot of investigation to do. There's rackets we have to discover and investigate where they were charging with the distribution of the water and the charging of it. Yeah,
you have to pay for water. Some people had to pay $500 for a tank of water and so on. Remember Dr. Ramupal, he said he had to pay for 2 tanks of water, and the amount he said $800 for a tank.
And all this happened under our justice system in the country and under the Attorney General knows.
And you know what was WASA defense? Oh, the lines are rusted. They cannot take the pressure, so we will not send no water to disrupt and burst the lines for this. So they were sending
all the information. Barry is discovering it right now, and his team. All the information, and they've seen evidence of blatant boldface discrimination in the distribution of water.
Yeah, so if the lines are rusted, try to fix them. Try to repair them bit by bit by bit by bit. Over 10 years, you would have repaired almost all of them. But no.
Yeah. Billions spent, and they can't show us where the money gone.
No, and now they want to introduce this and that, and they tell you now, X amount of people were getting the water, when in fact it was much less, 21% only, and they were claiming it's pretty close to 60% of the people getting water.
I heard of people of months who couldn't get water, especially in the south, and especially in the Southland.
Oh yes, you name it, man. You name it. That is geographic discrimination, what they talk about. And here all these journalists were sitting quiet on these things, no reports and nothing. PNM was doing good. For them, PNM was doing good. Yes, they were all paid off by the politics to spread, all these false rumors that WASA is doing good. They were having a restructuring plan and all this thing, and that was all promises next year. All their talk was always next year. Never in the current situation what benefit they are going to provide for people. So, I see the same thing happening again all over. You saw the article on the central bank issue again popping up.
Yeah, and the Governor General there is boasting himself of why he cannot disclose certain information. The government requests information and you cannot disclose it. So who you think you is? Who do you think you are, man?
He cannot disclose the
priority. He will give it to the PNM government. He will give it that information to Rowley. that year.
Yeah, well, he gonna have to deal with them lawyers we have.
And deal very quickly. That's what I say. Apparently, he playing for something as well. They want him to fire him, and he think he will win his case, but his case is totally different to Drala case in 2015. So let him go with his stupidness. He might end up losing a lot more because I think his term comes to an end this year. But that shouldn't be a criteria. They should get rid of him now. You know, don't wait for the end of the year. He will get there and do a lot more mischief between now and the end of the year.
Mischief.
Well, there's gonna have to
Sabotage.
be some paper trail,
Yep.
right? There has to be some paper trail where we're gonna follow the money, right?
Yes, that's why when you have to fire somebody, fire them one time. Don't wait for nothing. Exactly what Param is saying. Fire them one time. Let them state their case after that. So all these people can in the boards, fire them one time. Tell me the reason why I should keep you. And when I can show you that you have mismanaged everything, then you should be paying back me. I don't have to pay you nothing.
Cool.
You should be paying back me. And if you fail to pay me, that's why Param is saying, expand the jail as quickly as you can. That should be a number one priority. Put back all of them inside here.
And the next thing too, when you go to jail and you come out of jail, they're putting on your ID card convict.
Convict.
A big line, convict. So when you know you're getting that on your ID card, you cannot get work anyway. You are not eligible for employment anyway, right? So you will have more precaution a crime.
And
You
then
wouldn't waste police time to looking for certification of character.
and put it in your passport as well. So you can't travel out.
Right.
You can't
Cool.
go and access all your bank accounts overseas.
No, they have no passport. No passport.
No, you give them passport, but you have the same sign on it, convict. So nobody is going to give you a visa, right? You cannot go in the embassy and say, hey, I want a visa, but bring your passport for you. When they look through your passport and say, conviction? Oh, no. Rejected. That's it.
So they will think less. They would not think anybody will not think about making a criminal activities, right? But the first criminals are the politics, the PNM politics.
From the top.
Insane people. Look, I read some time ago a fire truck cost $3.6 million, right? And it get in an accident. And now the record that wreck it out, it costs almost $3 million. Huh?
Yeah.
All right. I could buy that the fire truck costs $3 million or let's say $5 million because these equipments are very expensive. But you telling me to wreck the truck costing $3 million and something? No, man. From there you should put people in jail. If you are a very sincere government, you understand? But there are no sincerity. There's no honesty, right? So everybody who's there in that corruption has to go in jail. You say what you want to say, but we cannot let the PNM or these people continue sabotaging the country. I am saying it again. They will hold back the country.
We have had too many people suffer under this government. Too many people. We can't let it go easy like that.
And do not feel sorry for anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Priest or no priest, pagan or no pagan, white or black, brown, yellow, whatever they call it, whoever did the crime, do the time, my man. So there should be no discrimination or favoritism, no this and that and that.
See.
We suffered too long.
Huh?
Someone joining in?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes. Okay, we're back on stream here. Yeah, Gary, besides that, anything else you saw that made the news lately?
Well, I saw the Minister of Finance talking about putting legislation in place to deal with
Forex.
with the issue here right now that we're dealing with.
The Forex. But they need legislation for nothing there. You know. We just want to know what and how much foreign exchange were given and to whom and what was that used for. Those are the questions Kamala is asking them. Asking at least the governor of the central bank to disclose who were the net consumers of foreign exchange, how much they got over this period of time, and what did they do with it. Was it used for productive assets, or was it used to buy and sell and make money and go back and buy and sell and make money for non-productive uses?
You make it sound so nice, Mr. Singh.
Huh?
You make it sound so nice. I would say the raw way. Find out who thief money and who thief money.
Correct. That is the economics in me, my economics. But similarly, what about all these cartels for drugs coming into countries, for foodstuffs, consumables, non-consumables, all these things? They had a monopoly on everything, all these high medical things, anything put it into CDAP and all these equipment, medical devices and what. They were the only one getting foreign exchange. Nobody else. You had to line up for 200 for the week. What can
I asked for $175 US to transfer to the United States because my wife was in the United States and she needed to buy some medication, and I waited almost 2 months and they did not give me Republic Bank, and I had the money. They say no.
Yeah.
2 months.
But they gave
it to a nice guy almost $25,000 because he going to buy some car.
Yeah, but not only that, they gave a guy 2 weeks ago $950,000 US because he's an entertainer. $950,000. Did we ever find which bank? I
guess this is why the how to say, the governor of the central bank is hesitating. As because where are the priority in allocating the forex? When you're suffering people in the country, you cause people business to collapse, you cause people children to suffer because they can't get the finance to pay for their classes who are studying overseas. They cause people to suffer because of they couldn't get the proper medical treatment or medicine. I mean, there's a lot of damages there. We cannot forgive that.
But it's not so much the government, it's the banking policy, the banks themselves. They have the foreign exchange.
We have to deal with all of that. We have to deal all with that from the banks, like how Wade was here and saying that First Citizen holding the forex. The central bank has a lot of explanation to do.
You see, the only country in the world that have a country is Italy, right? And that is the Vatican, right? You understand? Now, a country inside of a country must not exist. The only place that exists, that is in Italy, the Vatican, right? So these banks are a country inside of a country. They do what they want. They tell you what they want. They take your money what they want, when they want. And the prime ministers as well, or the minister or the PNM government as well, had say in that, what to do, what not to do, right? That's what they're going on. Now they see control coming, they will lose money. They cannot take advantage again of the people. You understand? So when they had the opportunity to take advantage of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, everything was good for them, right? No foreign exchange. When there's no thieves, there's a lot of money. Why there are no money in the country? Because there's a lot of thieves, right? Everything will show, everything will run correctly when there is no thieves. Look at Najib Bukele. Look how that man structure the prison system. How El Salvador is safe now. How all the political parties, how all the political businesses start to function now because there's no mafia. There's no mafia. Eliminate everything. And those guys who were in political power, even from his political party, went to jail or is in jail right now, right? Who is on his side is in jail right now. So all business, the country will flourish without these criminal activities, without thieves. But they have a very good jail system,
That's right.
right?
Yes.
So we have to take that example from Najib Bukele,
El
right?
Salvador.
The thing is now, this is something that is very disturbing. We go by the law to catch a criminal. We afraid the criminal because of the law. No, we cannot shoot him because he's inside my house. Because if he turn it back, it's a crime. No, you can't do that. You can't do
Let me tell you
that.
something. As far as I'm concerned, and that law has to change. From the time you enter my house, you threaten my life without even saying anything. From the time you enter my house, you break into my house, you have threatened my life. So that is how the law needs to be.
And you have no rights. Once you enter there, you have no rights.
Yeah,
again.
you have no right.
So I can do what I want. And that is in part.
You see, all right. Listen to this, no? The Bible in Exodus chapter 20, it says the 10 commandments. No, one of the 10 commandments says, "Thou shalt not kill," right? But further on to chapter 22 says, if a man have died of his wounds, if a thief have died of his wounds, he who wound him shall not be punished.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
Right. And now he speaks afterwards. If you tie him up, I'm translating it in a way, no? You hold him, you tie him up, and you kill him. That is assassination because you have already overthrown him, right? You have already overthrown him. But in combat now, as I was taught in the army, you start to shoot down the opposite side,
Me.
neutralize. You remain stand up, you win. I ain't waiting for you to say, hey, stop right there. No, my family is in jeopardy. Right? Now, if you overpower the man, okay, good. He's alive. He go to jail. But he come inside one time. Look at that law. I remember chapter 105. I can't remember the law that says, it states, that law, when I was a child, I saw it published in the house. By law, chapter 105, if you enter this property, you can be shot. That law was there in Trinidad. Can you remember that?
So the trespassing laws have to be upgraded where necessary, and it has to be enforced. Right, number one. And I mean, we have seen, like I said, recently we saw a man. I was discussing here that there was a recent case where he was being attacked, quite a number of times, and the landlord, and he went and got an illegal gun because the government obviously wasn't granting him, the police wasn't granting him a legal gun. So he decided to get an illegal gun to protect himself. They sent him to jail for 4 years. But I said the judge lacked discretion there because the government failed in many ways, and there evidence that this man was attacked many times. So he had no choice. So the judge lacked discretion. Yeah, all right. So this is why we absolutely need these laws to change in the country. When police wants to come and arrest you for defending yourself.
Why you didn't arrest the thieves? That's it. That's the thing. You should make a good investigation. Who is the invaders?
No, but not only that, the police was not held accountable for failure to respond. The law failed to respond many times, not one time, 110 times, moreover.
Now, if they were good, if they were respond on the emergency situation of the invaders, okay, I agree with the 4 years jail. If there is not, there no response. How can you come in? How can you?
You force the man to get a legal gun because you refuse to grant him a legal gun, and you are at fault there.
Him.
The state is at fault there. The police is at fault there. The justice system failed to act.
No. What failed to act there is the judge, who's a criminal as well.
Yeah, well, that's the final analysis. The judge lacked discretion. You know what I'm saying to you?
Maybe because no, your brother went in the house of the woman or the man there. That was what might go on.
Yes, I was also reading about the new COVID virus as well, the new strain. It's
So far
becoming
TNT is monitoring it. We haven't seen any evidence, but I mean, at this stage, how much have we been able to secure a border? There can be an illegal entry and somebody comes spreading so we still, I mean, I don't think we're 100% where we have everything locked down at this point from the illegal crossing. So we
right,
have to be careful, still have to be careful.
very careful
COVID is
because
here.
a
The
lot,
COVID virus is here to stay. Now it is there and it is have involved in different ways. It has made itself adaptable in many ways. Now our bodies are more resistant to the COVID. The first COVID that came out, we will have no resistance in our body. Was not resistant. Now we get immune right now. Now the present COVID that is here, that is here in the let's say that is present anywhere. About 4 years ago, we have this same COVID. 4 years ago, we have no chance of life. Now we are more resistant of the COVID, right? So every flu that you have that is there is present is considered COVID. Every flu that you have is considered COVID, one way or another. Now our bodies are more resistant to it. Now, as I say, second pandemic of COVID will not be there because we already have a high resistance and tolerance on that virus. Something else might be coming out. Yes, it can be manufactured or come out like a terrorist attack. Nobody knows really what if it was a terrorist attack or nature, right? So
What? The
we have more
COVID?
resistance.
The COVID? The COVID was a
Uh-huh.
lab manufactured pandemic that they took natural stuff and expand its capabilities. Is obvious.
yeah.
Right.
Now we see
Well,
a lot in the West Coast here, Gary, in California and so on. It's spreading on
In
that
fact, there was
side.
a recent release about that information that all what I was saying from the beginning, that it was proven that it was a man-made manufactured lab rat, basically. And we've been exploring with what to say, biological stuff,
Warfare.
whether it's biological weapons or testing the for disease control and stuff like that. We've been playing around in labs with these things, messing around with it in order to see how it can be treated and what you can fight against it and all these different things. So there are several things going on. There are biolabs that can create these things. So I mean, who are they trying to fool? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we have to start putting mechanisms in place to ensure that it doesn't reach down to our shores. Because once you're traveling out of the country to anywhere in the US and so on, your chances of getting exposure to this.
Well, our people are internationally traveled more so now than before.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're going out for vacation, they're shopping and all these different things and
And
partying.
summertime, a lot of commingling, everybody, hanging out and so on. It's been summer, but it said the cases have been reported in New York as well now too, because instead of California alone, it's beginning to spread across. And that is normal because airplanes and some people travel all the time in planes, trains, what have you. But as Parum saying, we would have developed a certain level of immunity for these variants. So again, it depends who is getting this new variant. Is it elderly people who are compromised in other sicknesses and ailments? Then they will naturally not be as resistant as the younger people, the younger folks. So the elderly is a prime target group for this new variant. spreading. And
Well, you can only fight. You can only fight what you. I mean, what you know what you're dealing with. When you know what I mean. You have to know the makeup.
yes, you have to know the makeup, but again, the vulnerable people are the elderly because they are compromised with other illnesses and so on. Their immunity is lacking. So one wonders if we have to take a whole new set of RNA the vaccines again, either with Pfizer or Moderna or something, going back to the shoots to go back and take a booster for this new strain of COVID. Or do we have enough immunity in our body to resist that new strain? And as I said, the younger people, maybe, but the elderly people with a lot of other illnesses around, suppose they are highly diabetic with heart complaints or with stroke or kidney diseases, their immunity will not be as strong, as the younger folks. So they might be a, potential target group for this new variant to attack them. So I'm saying we don't wait for it to happen and see, just do as much as you can early to protect the island like that.
Well, you have to put medical things in place, the resources, and you have to secure your border as best as you can.
Yes, correct. But they may come by the boat into an illegal port of entry. How do you protect yourself against something like that?
Well, that's why I say protect the border. You just step up the game.
Yes, that's why we have to do this border protection, which I sent you today. This is why this is important for me in a number of different fronts. We have to do these things.
Okay, fellas, I have 1 hour to get ready to go to the hospital. Nice jumping in. I'm going out now to the hospital.
Glad to see you, Paroman. Take care.
Right.
Any investigation you're doing lately?
Well, we'll talk about that
Yep.
off the air.
Okay, nice.
All right.
Take
See you.
care, everyone. Yeah, Gary.
So, I mean, like I said, the border security is we have to step up our game. We have to use what we have right now to secure the perimeter of the country. You have to unleash those from the barracks and put them on foot patrol wherever possible, monitoring the terrain, the border, from land and sea.
Yes.
I mean that is what we have. We don't have jet planes right now, but we have the boots, and you have to deploy the boots. We have to apply all the preventative, and that goes for the community, whether it's the police. I mean, there's the basic common sense thing we have to do before we get to the scientific parts of things, right?
Yes, correct.
And
Yes.
if we're not doing the basics, then people come and talk all kind of fancy technological languages there, and then you're not utilizing the basics. So I want to see
Basic.
the basic off the ground. That is what they call you and we like to use as the low hanging fruit. Deploy the manpower, make sure the manpower is properly well managed and supervised, that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. The reports are documented, and their patrol is documented. Which route they patrol, and the time frame of it. It has to be monitored. I mean, there has to be results and everything documented how they patrol, and and what time frame and where they were. In security, we used to have a detect at the clock in the building where you had to clock as they walk different points. So there has to be
Yeah.
some kind of notification. Before afterwards, we could come up with electronic something, but in the meantime, there has to be documentation of time frame of where you were at certain points in your patrol, so we know
Yeah.
what was covered, what was not covered, if something happened, who was the last person there, things like that.
That's fair enough. But as I said, you need to have the basics in place first. And that's why people in CJS, I heard today that they are pretty nervous in what's happening, on the ground there, given their proximity to the mainland. So, people are a little edgy. They don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and basically, I don't think anything major is going to happen. Trinidadians like to to be a little dramatic at some point. But
Sensationalize things.
yeah, they start to create drama unnecessary. But we have to secure the border. I mean, we would need
Bottom
backup.
line,
We
bottom
would need
line,
backup. We would need backup in order if someone decides to be stupid, because they have a heavy military. So I'm sure we will put those things in place where we get a response from our neighbors who are more capable of assisting us in that capacity. But in the meantime, I don't think this is going to go anything bigger than, because I don't think Maduro wants to pick a fight with us really to that extent.
uh, his expansionist policy in the Essequibo region in Guyana is, is the same threat he's making.
Well, the U.S.
Uh,
showed him there. The U.S. showed him there, and if he wants to test, he free to test the waters and see the consequences coming in.
Yep,
Because we
I
might
agree.
look defenseless, or we may not be as defenseless as they may think.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah, the ex-foreign minister, Mr. Amy Brown, he suggested diplomacy, but how can you be diplomatic to a narco-terrorist? Tell me what diplomacy you're going to indulge in.
Well, he might have to explain that diplomacy in private, because the level of diplomacy that took place in 10 years between Venezuela and us, is a lot of it has to be explained.
Correct, especially the dragon gas deal and so on, because I
Well, the
understand.
dragon gas deal, and Delcy coming over the border back and forth, and
Yeah,
Cho Chong making several trips to Venezuela.
18
Yeah, all
trips.
those things. You on country money time, and you have to. So you're not working for yourself. You're working for the government and the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So all your how to say, all your travels and what took place has to be documented, right? So he will
Yes.
have to answer.
Correct. I can see the Prime Minister as well as making the point. Once you use public funds for any investigations, the public has a right to know the results of these investigations.
And how the
Basically,
funds are located, and then who and for what.
for what,
He spelled it
who,
out.
yes, and that is correct. They want to know the results. What is it that come out of the Nikon deal? What the Commissioner of Inquiry, what the results of that inquiry is what? You can't hide under these non-disclosures.
Well, I'm waiting patiently to see where we get at with the Paria diver situation when we disclose those things.
Yes, and then we see you've seen all the PNM stalwarts getting reports, providing reports and providing excuses and providing commentary and getting a big air from the press, but I ain't seen the opposition leader saying anything.
Well,
You know,
we will eventually see. Let the dogs bark. Let the dogs bark.
One wonders what's going on there. I see Rowley, I see Stuart Young, I see the Amy Brown, but I ain't seen Miss Penny. I ain't not hearing anything from her. So who is in charge? And why is the press giving so much leeway to these other people when they don't have a say, so to speak?
Well,
But
Dr. Rowley ran away from the fight. I
yeah,
put the small dog in front.
let them
He
take
put
the
the small
fire.
dog in front. I used to have two dogs, right? I had a big mixed breed dog with a station and Doberman. And then I got a little potong there.
And
And the potong used to pick the fight and
yes,
run behind the big dog, right? But we see something different here. The big dog put the potong in front.
well, this is what we had a similar situation. The little one makes all the fire, the big barking, the big grand charge.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the small one in the charge and everything. The big one stays in the back. So They put the young doctors face the fight, man. Yes. So
Did you get a chance to see Anand Ramlogan's response, his statement?
yes, yes, I read it, and it's the same thing which we are saying all along. Public expenditure, once it's been used, well, then you have to account back for the public what you use the money is for. Look at the judgment, and it tells you what. You know, the one with Munilal, Dr. Munilal. You see what is being said, and you know he agreed that you cannot hide behind these non-disclosures, and you know what? These two ministers, former ministers, are justifying that you know, this is the BS.
But you know, they had. When we get done with them, I would like to see them smiling after we get done with them, with that smoke on their face there. Like I said, I was looking forward to the day when the smoke get wiped out of Imbu's face, and you know, and Stuart Young, you know, in particular.
Yeah, see the scams and what the lies they were perpetrating against the population.
They think they got away. Well, let's see how it rolls.
And they're justifying that. They're justifying their lies. How can you justify a lie? You have to justify a lie with another lie. You know? And, you know, as they say, the truth shall prevail. So let's wait and see. But in the meantime, though, it puts a severe strain on implementation of the current government. You know, their policies and so on will have to be delayed before any implementation happens. To clean up the mess the country is in, as I said, every single system is broken and has to be re-engineered to make it more meaningful and whereby you can deliver services back to the people. But as it is now, everything is broken. Everything is broken. All ministry, all, you just name it. From immigration going back to births and deaths, the legal affairs, the court system, the judiciary, you name it, man. We are in serious problems with respect to systems implementation of, you know, for the smooth flow of the public service and service delivery. Look at the amount of persons without pension, the social services ministry. What their backlog, nearly 5,900 people. There was not deliberate to make sure that they don't, PNM government does not make that payout for these people and leave it on somebody else to do the dirty work for them. By the way, it's not dirty work, it's monies that are legally due to these people. You know, but they prefer to keep that money and serve themselves or their constituents or whatever they had to do with it, rather than give it duly to the elderly population. What a shame.
So we had the Felicity Hindu, SCA has now finished, and we have a brother and sister who wrote the SCA exam 2025, Kishon and Kishona. We want to find out how was the exam. Kishona, how you thought it was?
I find it was easy, but I passed it. It was a little difficult, but it was good.
It was good. And you, Shona?
It was mid. It wasn't hard. It wasn't easy. We made it a lot easier. It was normal.
Okay. How did you all prepare? Did you all study together or
Study
how?
together and we do practice lessons, yeah.
Everything together. The only thing, all didn't sit together. Okay. Well, congratulations and all the best for your first choice.
Thanks.
Thanks. And what is your first choice?
Vishnu.
Vishnu Boys and
Saraswati Girls.
Saraswati Girls. Okay, good. Thanks.
Today I want to make it very clear to the Venezuelan government and officials that they can do whatever they want on Venezuelan territory, but they cannot come here. TNT territory is off limits to them. If Mr. Cabello's comments are a veiled threat to enter TNT territory, they should reconsider any such intention. The fact is that as a responsible government, we have to take all threats against any incursion into our territory seriously. I will speak to Minister of Defense and Attorney General to seek advice on protections for our Coast Guard, to use deadly force on any unidentified vessel entering TT waters from Venezuela. Smuggling military able-bodied men and women, TNT is off limits to them. Following comments from Maduro and Cabellos, we now have to take seriously the threat by that government sending their agents into our country to commit acts that can be adverse to our own welfare. We will also have to take a look at how we go forward with Venezuelan migrants here who are military-aged and able-bodied men and women. We have to take this threat seriously now. They have done this before. They made similar propaganda comments about Guyana and Colombia whenever they had interior political problems or elections, and then they engage in border skirmishes with violence. We will take these threats very seriously.
So, so you see what she saying, that we have to take into consideration those who are military age within the country that Venezuela could utilize to cause problem for us within the country there.
I'm glad to take that firm, strong stance that she's not tolerating any nonsense and expect the worst to come out of this.
One more thing here.
Yeah.
Saddam, remind me what was said. Go ahead.
If you read the article carefully enough, you would realize that what the author was saying is that the common law.
Saddam, remind me what was said. Go ahead.
If you read the article carefully enough, you would realize that what the author was saying is that the common law defense of self-defense, because it's not in statute, we rely on common law, judge-made law, precedent, cases. It really reflects that the law is not certain. What we are doing as a government is putting certainty with respect to the law of self-defense, which is what we're calling stand your ground law. So if you read the article properly, you'll realize that the author is given an analysis that is not in line with what you are asking. What you're asking is whether or not we are diametrically opposed to the positions. He didn't come to a conclusion that says, well, look, the law provides for stand your ground. He's saying that the current status of the law is that there's use of proportionality, and as the Prime Minister said, retreat. We are saying we're putting the law within the box of four corners so that if somebody invades your home, you don't have to interpret while they have a gun at your head. What is proportional? What we are saying is that you can use the force to destabilize that person to protect yourself, your property, and your family. It's very clear what we're doing.
I read it properly, but thanks for the clarity. I just want to...
Again,
so there we go, Mr. Singh.
Yes, that's right, Lord. Provide certainty. That's the word which they were, emphasizing on. Once they catch you,
a little explanation of, what I think I lose your voice there. I don't know. Check your mic.
No, my mic is on. My mic is on. Are you hearing?
Let me try. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, says she provided clarity that that's what the intent of the stand your ground legislation is, to bring more clarity into the existing law so that there's no room for confusion. Everybody understands when a criminal comes in your property, what you're supposed to do. You don't have to go and think at that time.
But that is it makes no sense. I mean, for people who try to enforce that law for many years had to be total hypocrites, that somebody, would you be doing the same thing when somebody ambush you inside your house? You'll be fighting like hell. And can you really coordinate? Can you really coordinate where you're going to shoot that person? This is why I'm saying also that when we issue the FUL, that we should align some training, because you have to know about getting your family out of the way when you get into a confrontation with somebody invading your house. Because you would need some practice. You just don't issue the FUL and leave the person alone and not give them the proper training. So we issue the FEL, but you have to take some classes, like how we do here in New Jersey. You have to go
In the range.
on the range and practice, and then there's also self-defense education,
Yeah.
and then you have to be mindful of what's around you when you fire that weapon, because you own that bullet. So,
Correct.
and you don't want your wife jumping in front of you and breaks in, and you have to rehearse these things with your family. Confrontation takes place. You need to find yourself out of my way so I can deal with this person.
Correct. So that time you don't have to think of aiming at the person's leg or the foot or the hand to disable the person. You have to defend yourself. That is what the providing clarity means.
Yeah.
You
I
have
mean,
to
you
be-
can't. I mean, it's unreasonable to ask you to do that in the first place.
So
But
suppose his leg is behind the couch. You only
no,
seen
but,
half his body. What do you do?
But let's say he have like Parun was saying, like he happened to turn around at the time he was attacking you, and the bullet
Yeah.
hit him when he actually turned around. They go say shoot the man in the back.
Yeah.
No, he's inside your house. There's a fight taking place. You cannot control that. That is unreasonable to ask you that. From the time he enters your house, he threatens your life.
And he loses
End
all
the
rights.
end the story. End the story.
He
End the
loses
story.
any right he has at that point in time. Correct. So they need clarity, and that is what they explained just now, that we will be making clear that bit of case law to bring it into bring that into the
Yeah. You have to spell it out, because some people are intellectually stupid.
yes,
And
like
that's
a
common sense.
couple of judges might make the stupid decision as they did recently in one of the cases. Give the guy 4 years 4-year sentence for having an illegal gun.
Which they put him in that position in the first place.
Yes, so they don't consider these facts at all. They just probably consider that situation. So based on the law, the judge made his decision. That's why you have to educate these judges along the way as well. That
Yep.
from the time this thing happened, this is the sentence and this is the penalty, so that there's no big variation in the sentencing. It has to be consistent to a large extent.
No, I saw I wasn't unable to. I had the clipping somewhere, but they discovered a human trafficking ring in Tunapuna.
Yes,
Right?
yes. I
Right.
saw it.
So, but we see that the police discovering things that they couldn't discover before. They got that right under their nose all the time, right?
Yeah. Well, the classic example is these guys who peddle drugs in the street corners. Everybody knows, the whole community knows, the police knows, but they turn in a blind eye.
Yeah, peddling drugs, peddling women, exploiting women, and young people too.
Yes, correct.
But it was happening. I mean, this thing happening when nobody knows what's going on, and these are foreigners too. They're foreign spoken people. So I mean, how could you not know what's going on there? Yeah, give me a break. But they discovered it anyway. They finally discovered it. So we know our Homeland Security Minister is at the job because he have spoken and given some kind of direction, right? So
Yes.
so we're seeing that happen.
I don't think there's anything much. I think we covered everything for this.
Yeah, we covered everything for tonight. So with that, I will say good night. Thank you for taking the time. We will catch up tomorrow night. On more information as we see things happen. I was trying to get a few people to come in here to to share some views on certain things, but they didn't take place. So let's see what happens for tomorrow night. I'll let you know.
Okay, sounds good, my friend. And take care. And if you get a chance, read the article I sent to you. I also send it forwarded to Trinidad as well. So.
Yeah. So I only respond, but I will analyze it when I get home to to do that
Yes.
kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Take care. Have a good one.
I welcome Nadira, Sarah, Lindsay, and let's see here, Anthony. Thank you guys, Isel, Bra, Vishnu Sipasad. Thank you all for joining us. And please, if you would like us to address anything you would like to let for us to discuss here, please let us know. And you're also welcome to join the program in the discussion. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
Take care. Right.
Good night, everybody.